Okay, let's see. All right. How are you guys?
Well,
today. We're very excited to do this. This is the first time we've ever done this before. My name is Ross Gutler. I'm the CEO of the Open Center, and I've got Ralph White and Anoya Araceli Brown.
Thanks.
I never realized both of your names end in a color. I never thought. That's why you've worked so well together for such a long time. But
it's a nice muddy mix.
We're really excited today to join our community to talk about the new program season. And we've never done this before. This is the first time we've ever done this because every year we do a catalog, and we've got typical, very ironclad seasons that follow specific catalog periods, but these are different times. And so in the midst of these different times, we've launched a brand new website built from the ground up that we're really excited about, that has a lot of new features. And the customer journey was a big focus for us to make it easier for you all to navigate our website, to find the classes you want, to check out, to learn. And so we're presenting our new season of classes that way. And so I thought, how better to introduce that than speak to really the heart and soul of the Open Center, where all our brilliant ideas come from.
A lot.
So
responsibility.
No pressure about this, the two of you. I know we're going to have this. We're going to keep this on our website for people that aren't being able to watch live now, because I think it'll function as a nice introduction and almost like appetizer to the main meal of our programs. And we've got a lot of one-off programs, nighttime programs, weekly programs. We also have a lot of long-term trainings that start. October is a big long-term training season for us that kicks off. So I did want to mention we've got our sound and music program, SMI, that starts on October 17th. That is the only program like that in the entire world. I believe it's a 9-month program, and we're extremely excited about that because we've got some people participating in it that have never before been in the program. And that one's been going on, Ralph, what is that, 15 years, 13 years, something like that, I think?
Sound of Music is something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's about 12 years now.
Yeah, we've got Green Medicine starting in October, I believe, as well. Itzhak Beery's Shamanic Apprenticeship just started last night. I believe you can still get in the full training.
You can join the individual sections and do that as well, because there are 2 separate ones coming up that are part of the long-term training.
Right. So I'm not sure. I know we started last night with double as many people as we've ever had before, which is the beauty of being online now, is we can reach people globally.
They can prepare for October 15th. They have the shamanic palm reading one, and then they have on November 12th, you have the shamanic diagnosis, which has to do with egg readings, invisible cord cutting. If no one knows what that is, it's how we connect to other people, bad or good, and how we take care of relationships. And so that's important. And I think people love the topic because it empowers them. So.
Well, before we get into that, I want to let the two of you introduce yourselves. I think a lot of our community knows the both of you, but for those that are new, that are watching, go ahead and give sort of maybe your story with the Open Center, and I think too why the Open Center is so important to you, because I know for both of you, it's been a huge part of your life, years, decades.
Yeah.
You want to start, Araceli?
Oh, sure. I mean, I came to the Open Center in 1993, but I was raised, because I am Central American, so of course, my mother raised me with certain types of ideas about being in nature, what was good for the body, always try to go natural. And that was just part of the culture that I was raised in, being a Latin American person. So I was always trying to find something like this and I came upon it in 93. So I started working at the Open Center as an assistant, then an administrator. And then in 99, I started working in programming. So I started off by bringing in a section of Afro-American and Latin American programs, because at the time we were able to actually work with funding. So that was a great run. I mean, per catalog, we would have like maybe 8 programs, 10 programs per community. And it was an entire different understanding, especially for me, because I also marketed it. So I would go into the communities. I would go into fairs. It was fantastic. But being a nonprofit, things change and funding changes. So I've had to work around that, and over the years, still have some fantastic, I think, people from Latin and Afro community that work with the center.
And I think we'll get to some of the new ones that we're programming later.
Yeah.
Ralph? Is Ralph frozen?
Okay, well, I'm Ralph White, and I'm around since the very beginning. Robust catalog program. I've been doing this since the very start, back in 1980, when we began working on it in March of '83 with the intention of launching in '84. I never imagined I would still be involved after 36 years, but I am. And I think it's because the Open Center continues to do important and valuable work. Why did we start it all those years ago? It was so there could be a vortex, a focal point in arguably the world's most influential city for holistic, ecological, and independently spiritual perspectives, thinking, ideas, practices. There needed to be a place where really high quality presenters, meaningful topics could be explored with the emerging holistic worldview. And our watchword in those early years, and still remains to this day, is substance, depth, integrity. So I've been involved in, seeing the Open Center go through all these different phases. Of course, now it's unique because we're entirely online with the pandemic, and that is a unique situation. Put it this way, it gives us the opportunity to really go global and for the Open Center to become really known on a national and international level, so that when we are able to return to a physical building, let's say after the pandemic, whenever that may be, we will be a hybrid organization with both a positive income stream, hopefully, we hope, an expanded worldwide reputation coming from the online programs. And of course, there'll always be a place for people to meet in person. Right. So I think that's enough about me. I've just always been concerned that the Open Center is engaged with the world, that it's relevant. Of course, that's the ongoing challenge as the decades roll by and circumstances change. New York is certainly a very different place than it was in 1984 when we launched. So that's our challenge, is to stay relevant, stay creative, and become increasingly accessible and available to a broad audience.
Well, on the topic of creativity, Araceli, what are some of the new programs, maybe new presenters or teachers that we've got coming up that our community might not be familiar with from our past catalogs?
Sure. My favorite this season is Faith Adelie. Her class is called How to Write Memoir and Still Be Invited to Family Thanksgiving. I know.
I hope we're teaching that before Thanksgiving.
Well, I think it's November 21st.
Okay,
definitely.
Right before. Perfect timing.
She is extremely witty, and she wrote a memoir called Meeting Faith. Her memoir was about leaving Harvard and becoming Thailand's first Black Buddhist nun. So she's quite rich in texture in many ways. So,
Thailand's first Black Buddhist nun. Okay.
Yeah, in Thailand. So that's quite an honor there. And I think even the way that she is approaching what she's going to do, like she says things like she's going to teach practical strategies for diving deep into sense memory and unearthing your unique stories and spiritual cultures and how they touch others. And the best is, she says, we're going to review the risks and rewards of telling family and community truths.
Ooh.
Now, that's a biggie. So that's one of the ones that I'm most excited about, being that she's new. We, of course, have other speakers that we've had here over the years, but sometimes not. It's been a long time. For example, Dr. Louis Malmojona, who is a Native American, and he is Stanford University trained psychiatrist and MD. And he's going to be coming in to do a 2-day training, either for health practitioners or for anyone who wants to understand how to deal with emotional and mental balancing and wellness. It's incredible that they use things like narrative story to correct things in the mind, even psychosis, and how to approach a psychosis by actually just speaking to the voices and disempowering them. So they've been testing this in Europe, and they find that it works. And I think he also is a great strength to the Native American community, because that means that a lot of this work can be integrated in regular mainstream work. So I'm very much looking forward to him being here.
Yeah. I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, no, we
I
have
didn't know about all our programs. That's great.
No, I mean, one of the last people, not last, but Sergio Magana, he's native Mexican man. He's one of the 5 chosen practitioners by ancient Aztec tribe who decided to pick certain people that will divulge many secrets they felt that was correct to divulge of the Toltecs at this time. And basically it's meant for everyone so that they can start healing and preparing for all these changes that we're going through. The reason I value him as well is because he is responsible for actually protecting the pyramids in Mexico, which I don't think people really thought about, but he went to UNESCO, of course, World Heritage and the UN, and he started that a few years ago, and he is still part of that. So he carries a great wealth of information. He's a lot of fun. And he's going to be coming up in December, like December 4 and 5, to do his 2-day workshop. He's going to teach us how to, in Toltec style, strengthen our immune system so that we're able to face these types of things that are coming, because this may be one virus, there may be more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that sounds like an extremely timely and relevant class, and I'm glad to hear it's a 2-day training. I think, to me, that's some of the best work we do are our multi-day trainings that are, there's a lot of content out there right now, and we understand what's our place as an organization and what's our place in sort of that sea of content. And I think some of these multi-day trainings are really special to the Open Center right now. And we seem to be getting a lot of great signups. And we're excited that we're getting people from 15 to 20 different countries. I think it's a good time to share that prior to COVID, about 11% of our audience came from outside the New York metro area. And the last data point I checked was we were at around 30%. So in just a few months, we've gone from 11% to 30%. And I think that number is probably going to get close to 50% in time. So that is a great thing for us to see. And it's great to see the diversity of programs. Araceli, I know it's something you've been working on for 20 years now, to 30, almost 30 years. You've been working on that. And Ralph, I know at our founding time, that was important. And one thing I know we've also had programmed for a long time is our Esoteric Quest, which is, as you like to say, and I agree, a crown jewel of the Open Center. Do you want to talk a little bit about this year's? It will be very different this year.
Well, yeah.
Still a quest.
It's still a quest. I mean, yes, I would say the Open Center. We've always felt we're a world city. New York is arguably the world's most multicultural city. So we've always felt we had a commitment to present the full cultural spectrum of the Open Center and all the coherent spiritual paths that are available within this city. But yes, onto the Esoteric Quest. Well, no, we have a couple of events coming up now that celebrate 25 years worth of work with the Open Center. The first is the Esoteric Quest, which is really about rediscovering the lost spiritual history of the West. There are so many wonderful streams. Some of our listeners or viewers would be aware, of course, of ancient Alexandria, not the Egypt of the pyramids, but the Egypt of Cleopatra and the Library of Alexandria that seeded so many brilliant impulses in the world. People would be aware of the mystery centers of Delphi, but we did another one on a beautiful Greek island of Samothrace. We've covered the golden age of Andalusia in Spain with Sufis, Kabbalists, Christian philosophers in medieval Spain. We've looked at
Can I say something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
These are fantastic journeys, and we go to these trips. We are going into other countries.
Yes, we go to all these places. We do the Cathars and the troubadours in 12th century south of France. We've been to Iceland, to the remotest parts of Iceland, to look at the profound world of Viking and Norse mythology and so on. Last year we were in Bulgaria. This year we were going to go to Portugal to celebrate our 20th. But of course, for viral reasons, that is happening. So instead, what we have a virtual Esoteric Quest that will be happening on October 23rd to 27th. It's a full spectrum of talks, concerts, breakouts. We even have happy hours. The quests are always convivial, but we have wonderful presenters. We have really some of the world's finest presenters in the Western tradition that we've had long-standing connections with. So we will have different themes to the day: the mysteries of the North, Iceland and Scotland, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, antiquity, Celtic wisdom.
So this is almost like a lot of our quests wrapped into one.
Yeah, it's a celebration of 25 years. So, you know, if we'd gone to Portugal, we'd have focused on the Knights Templar and the contemporary poet Fernando Pessoa, a great esoteric thinker, and the whole Sufi elements that linger there from Andalusia. But no, this is really, it's celebrating 25 years. But it will have all these different themes. So some of our favorite presenters, it's going to be a very rich thing. So let me just point out to people that if you go to the Open Center website, opencenter.org, and you just scroll down the page, you'll see the Esoteric Quest. Just click on that, and that will take you through to all the information. The website, the full website just went live yesterday. So,
oh, beautiful.
And I should mention that people can register for the whole 5 days, or they can just come for individual days.
Yeah.
So there are lots of options.
And now you don't have to book a plane ticket to actually come on this quest.
No hotels. You just have to walk to the nearest computer. And I should now, secondly, the other thing that we're celebrating that has been going on for 25 years, I never thought this would go on that long either, is the art of dying. You know, when we did the first Art of Dying conference 25 years ago, it was like, why am I doing this? I mean, this is going to be the most depressing weekend of my life, I was thinking. And in fact, it turned out to be incredibly life enhancing. And I'm proud and grateful that the Open Center has done the work that it has in pioneering a whole much more holistic approach to death and dying in America. Of course, one of the things that is most repressed and taboo in our culture, but it's changing. When I look back at 25 years ago and how the whole topic of death was completely ignored, now you see more and more bestsellers, PBS specials, but it's a wonderful thing to bring these conscious approaches to working with the dying, investigations into near-death experience, work doulas for the dying, death midwives, green burials, all kinds of beautiful ways of working with people, especially in this pandemic. So we will have it so right at the end of the month, the 31st of October, and then the 1st of November. It's actually Halloween right around then, or Samhain, or the Day of the Dead. We'll have 2 days there, Saturday and Sunday. So just look at the Art of Dying on the Open Center website. And really, this is a showcase. This is going to show some of our finest presenters, and it's going to offer to people the whole spectrum of, not that, but a good part of the spectrum that we have been teaching in these beautiful and very necessary practices and approaches. And of course, in this time of mass dying, with the tragedy of COVID being so ubiquitous in the country, this is something we need more and more. And there will be, we are going to create an occasion for some grieving in there too. We're inviting people to bring in photos of loved ones they have lost, and we we'll have something experiential too. So Art of Dying coming up at the end of October, and Esoteric Quest 23rd to 27th. So
Yeah,
please check those out.
And I think that, Ralph, those are two good examples of programs you might not think would be easy to do online, because part of the foundation of the program is travel. Yet we have figured out how to translate that into a different experience. And I'm thinking of, we've got two book tour stops coming up that you would think, well, how do you do a book deal online? But we've got Deepak Chopra's new book coming out. We're doing an event with Eddie Stern's Inner Peace Conference. They're a partner on that.
October 3rd.
October 3rd. And then we actually just confirmed yesterday, we're going to do Wim Hof's new book deal on October 20th. So in the span of 3 weeks, we've got Deepak and Wim Hof's book deal. And people would think, well, how do you do a book deal if you're not there signing books in person? But I know Deepak always does a fantastic job presenting online. And I know for Wim Hof, I've been a practitioner of his breathing methods and cold therapy for several years. So I'm going to be interviewing him for that. So I'm really, really excited about that. So there's ways I think we're being creative. We spoke earlier about how we're being creative with the programs we're bringing. I think we're also being creative with the way we deliver programs that we've had for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be unusual with Deepak because we found a way to actually work with him. So people within the United States will also receive the hardcover copy through the mail. So that's
cool.
Unusual, but we're going to do it.
Oh, that's great to hear. And then we've got, I know Deepak's good friends with Marianne Williamson. Marianne is coming back. I know she used to be with the Open Center a lot in the past. And Araceli, you want to?
Yeah. Well, she's going to have an evening, a 2-hour lecture, and it's going to be called What Lies Ahead After the Election, Finding Your Highest Calling in Turbulent Times. Now, so that's going to be on November 10th. And basically what she wants to get at is no matter what the results and tensions, she wants to recreate really and re-empower how we think about ourselves in these times. Because most of us, of course, are going to get swept away with, either or choices. And but she wants to go more into an in-depth exploration and with transformational work. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, and then we've also got, we haven't announced it yet, but I guess I'll say something about it now. With our good friend Ken Jordan and Evolver, we are combining to launch a 4-part series where we're going to have really fantastic presenters in a panel setting discussing the conscious community's response to everything going on right now. We'll make a separate announcement about that. I'm just sort of dropping a little teaser on that. And that will very much address, we've got issues around ecological issues. Ralph, certainly you and I talk a lot about racism and racial justice, and not just racial justice, but I would say gender equality. All of these issues, the pandemic, people's attitude toward the pandemic, all of that is going to be covered in our 4-part series. So we're really excited about that, and I think that's a good example of how we are the Open Center. We consider ourselves an open organization, not only to all colors and creeds and races and genders, but also all spiritual practices, all wisdom traditions, all ancient religions, and also working with other organizations. So I think teaming up with Evolver on this is a good example of something we wanted to do to really work in kind and in community and in partnership with some of our friends here in New York City.
Yes, I think, it's part of the Open Center's mission and purpose to engage with the big pictures of our society. And obviously we're all on a kind of weird pause right now with COVID. But as you were saying, Russ, there are huge issues the world is facing, the underlying gargantuan climate crisis. And of course, the whole viral pandemic, and to say the least, there are going to be political tensions. So we face a challenging winter, but the Open Center intends to be here in our online format. You know, our task, we feel, is to be clear, strong, creative. We want to be engaged with the world. We want to be offering creative perspectives, solutions, conversations about where do we go in a post-COVID world? How do we really move to a much more holistic and ecological society? This has been a theme of the Open Center since the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's been aware that, you know, our present economic, industrial system, etc., has been trashing the biosphere and deeply damaging our own psyches. And so places like the Open Center are there to create an alternative to it. And so we've been at it, and we plan to keep on being at it. So I'm glad that we'll find additional ways to speak to the major big issues that our society is facing, as well as helping people, of course, and supporting people in their own individual wellness, their own spiritual practice, their own psychological well-being, their own artistic creativity, the stuff that we've always done for decades. But I think in these turbulent and demanding times, I think it's incumbent upon us to offer some real fresh perspectives and some leading edge discussions around the future of our planet.
Ralph, I think that's put beautifully. And as a nonprofit that we don't have a responsibility of returning profits to shareholders. You all are our shareholders, really. And so our job is just sticking with the mission. And Ralph, I think you just so beautifully and eloquently illuminated what it is why we've been around for so long and what we need to continue doing in the future. And that's why that's the beauty of what being a nonprofit allows you to do, is just focus on the mission. So I want to conclude with a heartfelt thank you to our community for being with us whether you've been with us for a day or for 36 years, and whether you've supported us through taking classes or membership or making donations, which clearly are tax deductible for us if you make a donation, since we're a nonprofit. We appreciate it. And we look forward to another 36 years of staying, like you said, staying fresh and staying relevant, and trying to empower, enable, and shift society toward a healthier way of being in relationship to ourselves, to each other, and to the planet. Well, Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you all joining us, and we'll have this posted on our website.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.